Hey Rich, what's going on?
Oh, getting closer with the Mercedes.
Really? Doesn't look like you've done that much.
I did a lot, okay? I'm serious. I did a lot.
Really?
Relax.
Previously on our LS build, we got our engine back from the dyno, put it back in the car for the last time, got it running under the Mercedes power, and figured out that we still have a lot to do. So we made our list, and in this episode, we tackle that list. We've got our exhaust figured out, we've got our air filter figured out, washer lines, the interior's back in it, the tack is figured out, transmission's back in again, the sensors are switched over from the Mercedes to the GM transmission, and lots more. Here we go. So a lot of this interior needed work. This was starting to come off, so glue's just drying, try to keep the bubbles out. But this material was all coming off. You can see the same is going on right here. See that? So we'll take that off. We'll take that off and just kind of glue that back on again. Cover for the transmission to allow the extra space. And now we're just gonna vacuum and clean this car out. We'll wipe the dash and everything down, and then it'll be like a brand new car. So this is the triple gauge pod for the left driver's pillar there. Basically just took a cheapy pillar and riveted it to the original pillar, and then used fiberglass to hold it tight, and then a little bit of Bondo over top of that. So we'll put some rocker guard on it to give it some texture, paint it black, and then this can be installed. Here we go. Okay, I know I'm gonna get some flack for this part of the build because I'm putting a used stock 4060 behind our turbo Vortec. Now there's a couple of reasons why we're doing that. One, cost, because it's not only the cost of transmission. If we build the transmission, I know we're gonna blow the rear end out of this thing. If we build the rear end, we're gonna twist the axle shafts, and the only place that rebuilds Mercedes rear ends starts at about $5 grand and then goes up from there. So by the time we install it, we still have to make axle shafts, all that fun stuff. Probably adding about 10 G to the build. We're not at that point right now. We want to drive this thing down the road and enjoy it for a little bit. We're never going to put slicks on this and hook up to it. This is more or less just a tire fryer. The tires aren't that big on the back of this thing. It's basically while we're going down the highway, we want to pass somebody, we step on it, listen to the turbo whine, and away we go. It's a toy. It's not a drag car, and basically we're trying to make this the weak link because this is cheap compared to the rest of the car. The 4060s are a dime a dozen in the wreckers, and what's the point of building a perfectly good transmission when if it goes we gotta build it anyway. If it blows or if it starts slipping or the third and fourth bands start to go, well then we'll worry about that then. We'll grab another one for the wreckers and then we'll build it accordingly. For now we're gonna enjoy it. We're gonna drive it. This transmission has 60,000 miles on it, and it never pulled a day in its life. There wasn't a hitch on the truck that we got it off of, so the transmission should be in great shape. We're gonna change the filter and the oil anyway, make sure that it works, make sure that our speedo works on the setup that we have, and then we'll figure out the rest of the drive line after we get the car running and tuned, and we got a long way to go before that, so here we go.
Some stupid hippie hybrid piece of junk left this collar for the generator in the crankshaft, so now the torque converter doesn't fit in. So I need a slide hammer. I don't have one, so I guess I'll buy one in the morning. Good chance to call it a night, go to bed, and that's the easy transmission because tomorrow I gotta put a 13-speed and a Peterbilt, and it's pain in the ass because it's not just a clutch. If it's a clutch, you just roll the transmission back, pop your clutch up, roll your transmission in. But because the transmission needs to be replaced, you gotta jack up the truck so you can get the transmission out from underneath because it doesn't fit. And unfortunately, I sold my service truck 2 years ago? 2 years ago now. So I can't pick up the back of the truck, so I'll probably be swearing a lot tomorrow. So yeah, anyway, I'm tired, I'm going to bed. And there I go, off to bed.
These slide hammers, Canadian Tire rents them out, or borrows them out actually. You buy it, if you bring it back, you get your money back. Pretty sweet deal actually. There's welded that nut on. Part Source does the same thing, so you don't always have to buy everything, but once in a while, the right tool comes in handy. So here we go.
Try again.
So, I might have to rethink this tranny swap as easy going in and out. Quite a few steps that all have to be done in order because everything is so tight. So, to get at the top tranny mount bolts and the one on the side here, I have to pull the left manifold off and put the tranny mount on. Now to get the right side on, I have to have the downpipe off and the tranny mount off so that I can tilt the back of the transmission down. Again, 7 o'clock, we're just tightening bolts, but long past 7 o'clock. But I want to get this tight, I want to get this on, I want to drive this car off this hoist. So we'll just keep plugging away at it. But yeah, this transmission isn't going to drop out like I originally hoped because it's tight. Okay, everything's nice and tidy underneath. Transmission's in, everything's bolted up except for my torque converter. I'll get to that. The PDRL, whatever, I flipped that 180 degrees and it still does PD. It should be in the right spot. I had to drill a little spot in the bell housing there to support the bracket on the front. I got to get my my lever there yet and make a custom shifter cable for the shifter itself. But everything else is nice and neat. All the wiring's put away. I got some Mercedes wiring there that'll probably all get cut out. That was all tranny stuff. But I still got to find that backup light. I wanted to run an extra wire to the back, but then I ended up having to use that for the washer bottle for the back and the front are separate pumps. So unless you wanted to run both at the same time, because generally when you run a wire, throw a couple extra wires in the loom. You can always cut them back inside the split loom and nobody will ever know. But if you need it, then you don't have to run a whole new wire. So now you have to try and find the backup wire. Finally got our drive shaft, which is exciting because we got our proper length figured out. But I think Gary must have got a job at the drive shaft shop. I gave him a measurement and even a picture of 53 3/4 to the ears, but he thought that meant 53 3/4 inch of tubing. I'll probably end up cutting that yoke out and sliding it back. Same with the exhaust. We had some issues with the exhaust and I kind of left it in their hands, you know. This is what I need. I need to be able to take the exhaust off here and there. But we got the exhaust figured out. They're gonna do some fixing for us this winter after the car is parked for the year. A lot of things I would have done different, like this cat, I would have moved it over here so that I would have had the space to stick my hand in there to do all the bell housing. Like it's tight, I can't do anything. So it's up, down with the transmission mount, giving space up and down. The rad's not in it yet, but if the rad was in, then it's so close that the front pulley would probably hit the rad. So then you got to do something there, probably pull the rad to pull the transmission. You got to pull the transmission to get at the... You got to pull the transmission to get this exhaust pipe out. It's not pretty, but it's tight, but it all fits, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of everything that we've done so far. It's taken a lot longer than I hoped it would. But I knew that there was these little things are going to take the longest, but this is kind of the final assembly. I was really hoping to get it off the hoist today under its own power and make a video of that, but not going to happen. One, the shifter cable's not in, and there's no way I can make that work. It's not long enough, it doesn't fit. And then two, the drive shaft. So I'm running out of time. I would have worked on it more this week, but a couple more opportunities came up that kind of life-changing, really. We had some immediate family issues that had to be taken care of, and before any work at Toys, family always comes first. We had some other family issues taken care of that we had problems with years ago, but managed to fix that this week. We sat down, had a beer with them again, but that took a whole day. They were in a jam, they called me. I helped them out, actually building a barn, and that went really well.
So hopefully that it's not really an excuse as to why this is taking so long. There's some things that I had to overcome with in my head, and I can stare at it, I just get frustrated, but I've had to take a little break from it too. A lot of stuff going on behind the scenes there, but it will be running this week. So it will be driving itself off the hoist. There's only a few small things, a little mount for the radiator, and then just kind of going over the whole thing, putting all my clamps and stuff back on, hooking up the wastegate and the blow-off valve. I'll probably do that this afternoon, but it will be driving this week, so here we go. So we've got our blow-off valve that we welded to our intake pipe here, and that's about as close as we can get to the actual throttle body, just because there really is no room there. So there's only one port there that's on the outside, and the blow-off valve works under vacuum, and that hose will be connected to this pipe right here, which is behind your throttle plate. So the reason for the blow-off valve is when you let go of the throttle and you close that throttle plate, the turbo is still spooling, and that boost has to be able to go somewhere. So if you were to shut the throttle plate off without the blow-off valve, it would more or less deadhead the turbo and try to slow it down a lot quicker than what is safe. So by using the vacuum in the actual manifold, when you close the throttle plate, instead of boost, it'll be vacuum. It'll pull open the blow-off valve, and it'll take the boost that's left over while the turbo is spooling down and exited out the blow-off valve. So even though the wastegate and the blow-off valve could work at the same time, they're independent of each other. Your external wastegate looks something like this, where it's got two ports, normally closed, and what you're doing is redirecting the exhaust gases when you don't want your turbo to spool around the turbo. And it does that by sensing boost pressure at the bottom of the diaphragm right here. It works against spring pressure, so there's springs pushing against that diaphragm, and the more springs you put in, the tighter or the more boost it will take to open the wastegate. So if you have a boost controller, which is a manual boost controller, just a simple one that we have here, all you're doing is imagine that your turbo is right here and this is your boost pressure. It goes to a T-fitting with an arrow on it, and the one side goes up to your boost controller. When this boost controller is closed, this might as well not even be here, and it's just your boost pressure opening the wastegate. When you open this all it does is in one position allows part of your boost pressure to bleed off. This doesn't go anywhere. This just goes into space, and you'll hear a little bit of hissing coming out of there, but all that's doing, it takes a little bit more boost pressure to open your wastegate. There's automatic controllers where you can actually set your boost pressure, but we are going to put just this in his ashtray. We're going to flip it down so that it's kind of neat, and then make sure that this hose goes somewhere outside the cabin so he doesn't hear a hissing noise when he's driving. So that's basic wastegate blow-off valve 101. So here we go. So we got our triple gauge pillar nicely on the side there. Needs a little tweaking, it's just a little bit too far off, so we'll have to put a screw right there. But gauges look nice. And then as for our manual boost controller, we're gonna put it in the ashtray here. So just flip that down, turn the controller to bleed off the extra boost, and that'll be our go-go button. So here we go. Does that make sense? Go gadget. Here we go. Go fast. It's tired. I gotta go inside. Hoogie with his, oh, it doesn't look like you have much done. Yeah, well, you know what? We're getting closer. Much closer. So another reason why these projects take so long is you always find something like that mount looks really good shape. That one isn't really there anymore. That one isn't really there anymore. And that one is non-existent and pretty crappy. So This bumper needs a couple hours worth of work, fiberglassing and whatnot, but we're gonna put that in another video. I don't think I've done fiberglassing videos yet, maybe a little bit on the pillar, but we'll show you how to fix that in another video. Also, this bumper needs a little bit more work. You see all the little stone chips? There was probably a white car before. These are stone chips, and then somebody's taken like a Sharpie. Can you see that? Taking a little Sharpie to it. What do you think? Paint job? What color? All right, the list is getting shorter, and then it goes right back to where it was because I think of other things that still need to be done. But I'm feeling much better about this project. It's coming together nicely, and I'm not losing sleep over it anymore because things are starting to go and go where they're supposed to be. And I apologize that it took so long to the customer and to you guys. There's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that kind of take priority. There's dailies that come in. This is just a toy. He's not hard up for a vehicle, so when the dailies come in and break, I'm still kind of in that point where this isn't my full income yet. I'm not charging my full rate, but when somebody comes with a piece of machinery or a daily driver that's broken down and it's hurting them, the renting cars or renting equipment to get by until it gets fixed, that takes priority, and not even all of those make it to camera. Because they're generic breakdowns, or I've done a video on them already before. So we did another injector on a Duramax, but same as the head gasket video, stuff like that. I also worked for that TV show, movie thing for a while, and then worked for them some more. And that was really cool and great money there, so I couldn't turn that down. Great contacts, and just one of those things that I never thought that I would ever be doing, and I have a hard time saying no to stuff like that. There's some really cool projects coming up that we're really excited about, and every time I think, oh, the next project's like the best thing ever. How can it ever top that? And then it tops that. I thought that the Audi was going to be the cream of the crop, and then there's something else on top of that yet. So it's been a crazy ride, but thanks for sticking it out. This will be done sooner than later. We will be driving it next week. We'll have another LS video next week. There's nothing lined up for next week, so this is all time. I got a young summer student kind of helping out, and he's ripping the Audi apart and having a good time with that, and it doesn't take rocket science to pull stuff apart, but we're documenting all that. So the Audi video will be out soon, but that's it for this one for today. Like Sloppy, like Matt says from Sloppy, is like, I can leave the camera running and you can watch me sweat and swear, but there's not a whole lot that looks like it's physically done. It's wiring, it's cleaning up, it's tidying, it's taking the exhaust apart again, wrapping it, putting it back, hook the tranny up. All that takes time, but it's just not that exciting, and we have been working on it. It's just there's a lot of little things to do on it. So a lot of little things to do on it yet. It's Saturday and everybody's closed, so it's about 5 o'clock, got a birthday party to go to, and family comes first, so I can live in the shop if I want to, but I don't want to. So that's where we're leaving the video for now. Thanks for sticking along, sticking it out, and we'll have more soon. I promise. Here we go. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because you never know what you're going to see next week on DeBoss Garage. If you like what you see, there's a lot of stuff happening to help support the channel. And remember, if you're not filthy, you're not rich.